Well, welcome back to another episode of the Field of 68 After Dark. My name is Rob Dosser. I have Jeff Goodman here with me, and we are fresh off of the road, coming back from South Carolina. We were down in Peach Jam for 5 days. We were down at the Adidas event in Rock Hill for 2 days, and we are joined by our recruiting experts and the hosts of the Next Gen Pod here on the Field of 68, Ani Umana and Mishu Nega. Guys, it's great to see you. We had a lot to talk about with this class, and I know it's going to end up being Jeff Goodman on here telling us how bad the class of 2026 is. So before we get into that, before we slander all these guys, before we tell everyone that these dudes that have spent their entire lives, 17 years, building up for this opportunity to be recruited by these wonderful Division I colleges, I'm going to give you guys the floor. Ani, Shu, I want you guys to tell me, what is your takeaway from this class? What are your overarching takeaways from July? And maybe some things. Let's get some positives here, Ani. Let's start this off on a good foot.
Takeaway from the class, it's deeper than I thought. There's more talent than I realized. It's not a good class, especially historically when you look at the past 5 years, but there's more talent. There's some guys really coming up that we'll talk about. But it's not as bad as what Jeff says, but
It never is,
not a
Ani.
great class.
It's worse. It's worse.
No.
Oh, I'm kidding.
There's
I'm gonna be.
we just got.
I'm gonna be kind.
You know what?
I'm gonna be kind on this pod today.
No, you're not.
Yeah, we know you too well, Jeff. Shu, what's going on, man? Give me your takeaways on this class and on July overall.
July was busy. Kind of bounced around everywhere. But for the class, I kind of agree with Ani. It's not top heavy, and I think the 2025 class, a couple classes before that have spoiled us with top end talent, guys who can probably jump from high school to the league. But this class isn't what that is. And that's okay. And so I think you can still find some sleepers. You can still find some really good talent, guys who can impact winning. It's a little deeper than you expect. And I'm of the proponent of trying to find the guys on the back end who can impact winning and be a Jalen Brunson, be a, something down the line that can just really have an impact on the game and moving forward. But it's not as bad as Jeff says.
Go ahead, Jeff. Defend yourself. Defend your opinion here.
All right. Listen, I've seen since for 25 years I've gone out on the road. Now again, I don't go out nearly as much now as I used to. I don't go out nearly as much as you guys go out. So I understand that I'm seeing these guys a glimpse, right? I'm not seeing them over and over and over. But I talk to the coaches as well just to kind of validate what I see. And all I know is the number one player, Tyron Stokes, would have been, fifth a year ago. And there is no number two player in this class. I can't wait to get to that because from 2 to 25, 2 to 10 at least, maybe 25, there's as little separation as I've ever seen. We can't figure out who the second best player in this class is. I agree with you on the depth. I think there's some really good players that I saw that I looked and I'm like, really? He's ranked 60th? He's ranked 70th? But the top 20 of this class is as underwhelming as I've seen in 25 years.
That's kind of where I'm at with it too. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I'm a recruiting expert, but I'll give you a perfect example. I don't want to bury this kid because I understand where the hype kind of comes from and where people are excited about him as a player. But I watched 3 games that Team Why Not played for Christian Collins, and I can't remember one play that he made that was a standout play, something where I was like, oh, wow, that's why you want that kid. Oh, look at that. That's why he's a top 5 player according to 24/7 Sports in the class of 2026, right? And he's ranked 4th. He's 4th in the country. He's top 5 in all of these different rankings. And I guess we might as well just jump into it. Like, where do you stand on this, Ani and Shu? I want to hear from you too, because you know these guys better than we do. Who's the second best player in the class? And is it a bad sign that we are at number 2 and we have players that calling them flawed is the wrong way to phrase it, but guys that are not Cam Boozer or Darren Peterson or AJ DeBonsa level as a prospect?
Yeah, at this point, because there's such little separation between, me and Shu talked about this in our first episode, was from 2 or 3 to 18, you could just pick anybody. And going a step further, when you say 25, especially after watching him in July, I agree with Jeff on that. So for me, the number 2 player, because I'm just going to go off production at this point, is Jordan Smith. Team takeover kid, Paul the Six, because just he's averaging damn near double doubles. He's playing hard as shit. He's athletic. He has strong body. He's one of the best, if not the best, defender in the class. He's 6'1" ish, 6'2". So like for the next levels, he doesn't have ideal size. The jump shooting still like a swinging skill, but he's been so productive in EYBL. He's been so productive in the school season. You have to just go by production at this point because there's no one with just like crazy like upside or ceiling that's really matching their production is not matching their talent, if that makes any sense. So I'm just gonna go by the guy that just been the most productive.
Go ahead, Shu.
I can't argue with that one, but just as well as you talked about one of the best defenders in the class, I think one of the best two-way guys in the class is on the Adidas circuit, Caleb Holt. 6'5", off guard, college-ready body, extremely fluid, athlete, IQ, instincts, all the intangible stuff. But to your case in point, as far as the production, he's a winner. This spring, so he did the Euro camp, Adidas Euro camp, and they won the championship out in Italy. I think it was probably early June timeframe. And he was the camp MVP. So he won the championship, camp MVP. A couple of weeks later, participated in U19 as a 17-year-old in U19 USA as they played out in Turkey with AJ, Michael, Koa, all the big stars there. In that 25 class, came off the bench, 16 minutes, 10 points, 3 rebounds, but led the USA team with 2.7 steals and had the highest plus minus. Again, that's his gold medal, and that's his 3rd gold medal. To follow that, he followed that again with another championship with 3SSB with his Game Elite team. And so you talk about production, you talk about size, you talk about skill set, you talk about growing skill set and being a two-way player and just affecting winning across the board. For me, Caleb Holt is easily number 2 for me.
Goodman?
So I watched Jordan Smith twice, and I walked away saying, there's no way in hell he's the number 2 player in this class. He can't be. He doesn't shoot it well. He's not a point guard. I friggin' love him. Like, defensively, I'm not sure I've seen anybody like him on the circuit in 5 years, right? I mean, he just gets after it. He can defend 1 through 4. Yeah, he's 6'1", but he's got super long arms, plays so hard, so disciplined defensively, all that. So I'm like, there's no way in hell. All right, let me watch some of these other dudes. And then I left the PTM and I said, okay, if there was a draft right now, I would take, and we'll talk about this guy soon, Tyron Stokes, number 1, because of pure talent. After that, I have to take Jordan Smith, number 2. Because, as you guys said, all he does is win games. All he does is impact winning. He's not going to be the best pro. He probably should be a 4-and-done guy, realistically, in college.
Yeah,
probably shouldn't leave early. But he could be a 4-year, like, All-American in terms of defensively. Like, he could be one of the best college defenders we have ever seen because he's going to walk into college so far ahead of 99% of the guys who have ever played college basketball. I friggin' love Jordan Smith. Again, not as a pro, but, man, if you want to win a game, you want Jordan Smith. That's why Duke wants him desperately. Arkansas wants. Everybody wants him because, again, as you guys said, there's not a dominant number 2 player. So what are you going to do? You're going to defer and say, like, I'm going to take the dominant winning player as the number 2 player in this class.
Well, part of the reason you want him too is because he's a 4-year guy. Like in this era, if you're not getting someone that's going to impact the game the way that Cooper Flagg did, right? If you're not going to get someone that is at that level as a 1-and-done, then it doesn't make sense, in my opinion, to spend the amount of money that it would take to be able to get one of these guys to commit to the program when you could spend that same amount on Jordan Smith, who I had one college coach, one high major coach tell me he would be a top 30 defensive player in the NBA right now. I also had another one tell me he's a 6'2" power forward. Like, how is this dude going to end up making it in the NBA? So you're going to get this guy for 3 or 4 years, and the money that you're going to spend, you're going to have more return on that investment. And I think it's a different conversation, and we'll get to here for a little bit. But I do think that the way that you build a roster, especially with this class, especially in the era of revenue sharing, is going to be different than what you typically would in a normal year when you have a quote unquote normal class. Let's talk about the top of the class, Goodman. I know you love Tyron Stokes. I know you love him as a player. I know you're starting to have a pretty good relationship with him as a person. What do you make of him? And there's red flags that come with him as well. Is that something that people should really be concerned about?
Potentially, sure. I mean, again, you watch him, and I'll say this: the one thing that stood out beyond his talent, and I said it last year. I remember in Indy when I went to EYBL, I walked away saying like, "Wow, like this kid looks different than he did the year before when I saw him." He was a little bit pudgy 2 years ago. He really slimmed down. He was way more athletic last year. He's in that, and I don't know if you guys want to push back on this comparison, but he's kind of in the Royce White like type of player. He's more athletic. He's definitely more bouncy.
Yeah.
But in terms of like being kind of a four who can initiate the offense, really good passer if he wants to be, really versatile. Sometimes he looks bored, sometimes. But I will give you this, like down 30 or up 10, whatever it was, they got blown out by Expressions by 30 in a game that I saw. Coaches weren't there. And I will say, and they lost another game that they shouldn't have. And he was playing hard till the end. Now, does he have some things he needs to work on maturity-wise? Absolutely. And I said it to him. After a game, I went up to him and I'm like, hey, man, like, I don't know if you want to hear this at all from me because who am I to him? But I am somebody that's going to give it to him straight at least. And I said, like, hey, the yelling at your teammates from across the court. When you do that from now on, go up to your teammate, smile, put your arm around him, and say what you want to say. It just – things like that he's got to grow up. Obviously, there's some off the court issues as well that the coaches are a little bit nervous, but all of them would take him in a heartbeat, right? Everybody in this class would take Tyron Stokes in a heartbeat because there is a significant gap from Stokes to whether it's Caleb Holt, as you said, or whether it's Jordan Smith, as Ani and I said, as the number 2 player. So Stokes is still talented as all hell. But yeah, he's got to clean up some things, certainly before he gets to college.
Shoot, we heard Goodman compare him to Royce White there, and I don't hate it. I don't love it either. Give me I don't need a comparison, but give me like a scouting report. If you are a fan of whatever program he ends up going to, what kind of player is that college coach going to get?
High energy, combo forward, one that he was talking about, one that can handle the ball, initiate an offense, uses his size and his athleticism to the T, to the utmost that you love to see, plays with a level of aggression that you like as well. And when he's on and he's engaged, it's very hard. He's just always going to impact and impact winning. Sometimes he may get too overzealous and maybe try to reach for a play or extend something out further than he should, whether it's with his handle or whatnot. But his athleticism, his ferocity, his ability to get downhill, his skill set has continued to grow. His jumper's coming along, his handle's coming along. I saw him recently. I didn't get to see him at Peach, but I saw him the week before in the 4th session and also in Kansas City. And he was playmaking as well, which I really liked at that position and with his size and the skill set of him being able to pass. And so he does a lot of things really well. If he can just, like you guys were saying, if he can just kind of lock in, focus, harness that energy, because I feel like sometimes it can get a little erratic. If he can harness that into doing the right thing, making the right play, no-brainer, one and done, and it gives you a chance to win every night.
Yeah, he's so big and powerful. He can get to the rim whenever he wants. To me, it's up here, right? The shooting obviously is something where it's got to come around, but I think it's almost like a maturity thing, right? Does that make sense? Like it feels like sometimes the emotion that he has and he plays with manifests itself in a way that appears to be more of an attitude than other things. And I mean, look, he's young. He's 17, right? He's going to grow. But I feel like that right there. Am I wrong? Is that a good read on him?
No, that's a great read. And again, like there's all these other factors that play into him his energy and his stuff kind of bursting out in ways that can be perceived negative. But again, he's a teenager, which all these kids we're talking about are teenagers. So they'll be different from they are at 17 now until they get to 20. They'll probably be different players. So maturity level hopefully comes again, and maybe that comes with the right program and time and different sort of experiences. But the physical part and what he brings to the game, his skill set, again, are what make him number one and what make him a high impact guy right away at the college level and beyond.
All right, Ani, I'm putting you on the spot, man.
Yep.
Shu just said it. If
Let's
he
go.
ends up at the right program, what is not where he goes, but if you are advising Tyron, if you are telling him, hey, look, I think this is the best place for you to develop as a player, as a person. This is the coach that's going to be able to get the most out of you. Where are you sending him if you are advising him?
I'm sending him to Louisville. I think the conference will be good for him. I think the program will be good for him. Coach will hold him accountable. And I think he'll develop and he'll mature. I think he'll be able to mature. I think it's a league where he'll be able to showcase like his overall ability. Like obviously he's more of like a man child right now, even when we saw him at FIBA. But I think like the more the skill set, the playmaking, the shooting, and just the growing up, he's going to have to. So I would say Louisville. I think Louisville, just the league, the program, just staff. I think he can be there, and they'll hold him accountable, and he'll grow up.
All right, so here's my hot take, and I want all three of you to respond to this. I think that the place that he needs to go is to Arkansas. I think he needs to go play for Coach Cal. I think that Cal is the guy, and we've seen him do this with other players over the years that maybe have had kind of similar personalities where they need to be the alpha. They need to be the number one, regardless of what happens. He's very good at getting people to kind of buy into a role. I think Tyron Stokes is the perfect Coach Cal kind of a player, right? When it comes to his personality. And I feel like I'm on an island here. If I'm go play for Cal, man. Cal knows how to work with these guys. Is that a crazy take, Shu?
No, I actually like your take, and I agree with you because with Cal, there can only be one.
Who's the real recruiting expert here now, guys? I should be on the next gen pod.
No.
Come on.
No.
Join the fight is wrong.
No.
I like the fact that I think Cal can harness all the rest of this because he's been able to take guys from different walks of life and be able to push them and mold them to buy into playing basketball the right way. And that's a hard thing to do when a lot of these kids, for whatever reason, they're the alpha at where they were. Don't listen to anybody. Everybody's allowed them to get away with whatever they allowed them to get away with. But I don't think there's a lot of that where Cal is at. And I don't think Cal is going for that. And so I think he is a good coach to harness that. Is that the best place for him? But I think that's a great coach that can reel him in. So I like it, Rob. Good take, Rob. Good take.
There we go. See, I finally get complimented on the field of 68 after dark, Goodman.
Though, here's the thing. All right, let's run through each one. Kentucky, Mark Pope, positivity, right? Would be completely different than the other three guys because Pope's going to give him, all the positive vibes, whatever, and see if that works. It could, or it could backfire. That could backfire too. Kelsey, I don't know, man. He's never coached anybody like that. And as an assistant at Wake, he coached James Johnson. But let's face it, he's never coached anybody like Tyron Stokes, whether it's ability or some of the things that you're dealing with when you bring in Tyron Stokes. Cal, yeah, I would say 2012 Cal, absolutely. This Cal, no, I don't think so. I don't think he works as hard at it. I also think we've seen regular season Cal last year. Yeah, he turned it on late, but this isn't the same John Calipari that was coaching in 2010, 12, 15, 18 even. The guy he should go to, and it won't happen because of Adidas, is Bill Self. Last I checked, Bill Self has coached some like dudes,
you could say
right? The Morris twins.
You could say
Josh
knuckleheads.
Selby.
Okay.
Yeah, like even Joel Embiid, personality-wise. Like he has coached a little bit of everybody. And who's the better X's and O's guy, Robert? Bill Self or John Calipari?
I'll go with the guy that lost to Coach Cal in the first round of the NCAA tournament last year.
Okay. Exactly. He's not going to go there, my guess, because of Adidas, right? He's a Nike kid. I'd be shocked as hell. But I will say this: and he just from all accounts, he just signed a Nike deal recently. At least that's what I heard at PCM. I can't confirm that, but I heard it's pretty much a done deal. But Cooper Flagg, right? Last I checked, he signed a deal with New Balance, didn't he? And he went to a Nike school. So it's not like you can't do it. If the money's big enough and the difference is big enough at Kansas, which, again, I don't expect it to be. I think he ends up at Kentucky, guys. I do. I think he ends up at Kentucky. Just a guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Gun to your head, guys, real quick. I want a quick answer from each one of you guys. Is Stokes a guy that will eventually end up being – does he have the potential to end up being an all-star in the NBA if it all comes together for him down the road? Ani, you go first.
If it all comes together for him, yes. I'm not predicting that he'll be. I think he'll be like a fourth or fifth starter. And he'll just be a guy that can – because I like him defensively. I think Tyron, when he really wants to defend, he can really get after. So I think just defensively, being a playmaker, like at that 4 spot, being a mismatch guy, I view him as a fourth or fifth starter. If everything just comes together, yeah, I can see him make a few all-star appearances, but I'm not going to bet on that.
Shu?
If it comes together, yeah, I'm in the same boat with Ani. I'm reluctant to say that it will. Again, let's say he goes to like Charlotte, a bad culture spot where they just kind of feed into the space that he's already in. Then what does he turn to? A Miles Bridges, that sort of player where they got all this potential, all the tools, everything is there, but again, they just haven't quite reached it because of whatever it is mentally, whatever it is they can't evolve from. So will he get there? I'm not going to bet my money on it. But I think he'll be a good player in the league and make a lot of money. So,
Goodman?
Yeah, I mean, again, no, I don't think he's going to be an all-star. But again, we just said how this class is weak, and he's probably one of the weaker number one players, again, over the last 25 years. But again, if his head's on straight and he matures and he goes to the right place, I think he can be a 12-year NBA player who makes a shit ton of money and is a starter for a long time in the league.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at with the two. And if you're a starter for 10 years in the NBA, you're probably going to end up making $100 million in your career with the way that this new CBA.
100?
Yeah. With the new TV deal and everything.
More than 100, Rob.
Yeah, well, I'm saying that minimum. Like, put it like this. Yeah, you're never going to have to work again by the time you're like 25. If he makes it the way that he probably should be doing this. Listen, there's a couple other topics that I want to touch on here. One, what kids in the class of 2027 should do if they are old enough to be eligible for the 2027 NBA draft. And also differences in ways that rosters are going to be built with this class versus last year's class, especially with the way that transfers and revenue sharing is going to change the way that money is spent. And we'll get into all of that coming up after this break. If you haven't heard by now, we have partnered with BetMGM for the season. We'll be using BetMGM lines to make all of our picks, and we'll have special offers for the listeners and the viewers. Download the BetMGM app and sign up using the bonus code FIELD. Deposit at least $10 and place your first wager on any game, and you'll receive up to $1,500 in bonus bets. Go download the BetMGM app and use the code FIELD today. Welcome back to the Field of 68 After Dark. Rob Dosser, Ani Umana, Vishu Nega. We are breaking down the class of 2026. But before
I'm not here. All of a
No, you
sudden,
don't
I'm not
matter.
even included.
No, you don't matter. You're not good enough. There's a reason why I didn't say your name. You don't count. Um, I want to talk about some of these top players in the class of 2027. Baba Olatodun, I hope I got that right, Baba. I'm sorry if I didn't. Is old enough to be eligible for the 2027 NBA draft if he reclassifies. Bruce Branch, who right now is somewhere in the top 5, he's number 2 for a lot of sites in the national rankings, is old enough to be eligible for the 2027 NBA draft if he reclassifies. If you are those guys, are you going to school early, knowing how weak the top of the 2026 class is, and knowing that if you get there, and even if you're a top 10 pick instead of a top 5 pick, you're still going to end up making a ton of money, and you're going to be able to get to that first contract extension a year earlier? Is that there are rumors about some of those guys reclassifying. I don't want to say any names specifically because they haven't done it yet, but Ani, is that something that you think these guys should be considering what the top of that 2026 class looks like?
Oh, 100%. I mean, if I'm someone that's old enough, 5-star kid, I'm on top of the 2027 class, I class up. That 27 draft class not going to be strong. Like, if we're just projecting right now, like you said, you get in a year early. You have a chance to be a lottery pick right away because it's not a strong class, and then you have a chance to get an extension a year early. So if it's not like a loaded 2026 draft class that that's projected. 2027 draft class doesn't look great. So if I'm a 2027 right now, I class up to 26, do a year, be a lotto pick, make your money.
Shu?
Absolutely agree. Again, everything comes a little bit early, and because of the current class, 26 and their 27 eligibility to get drafted, it just feels like a no-brainer. The ultimate goal is to make it to the league, right? And so if you already got these NBA teams chomping at the bits, Baba, Bruce Branch, some of these other guys in that 27 class that can reclass, then why not go ahead and go? Especially because they're not liking what they're seeing with the class that is right now. So again, like Ani said, you get drafted early, you get to your money early, and you just get to the league and you get to learn the skills and be in a place that you've been longing for the longest. Why delay if there isn't much of a difference? You're going to take one more year of high school. Like I don't see the reasoning in that. I'd prefer, if it was me, my son, my friend, whoever, top of the class, reclass now and get to it early.
Don't you worry though with like Baba Shoe? Don't you worry that he's not ready? He can get exposed physically. Like to me, I love Branch. Even he, obviously, physically he can still get stronger. Ryan Hampton, I friggin' love his upside. But like Baba in particular, a year ago I watched him and he didn't do anything. Like he was out there and you could see the potential, but he didn't do anything production-wise. Now it's like every other game he'll produce. Still not consistent, way better than it was a year ago. I almost feel like with him, I worry. The others, not as much, even though, even Ryan Hampton needs to get bigger, stronger. Branch needs to get bigger, stronger. Baba's the one in particular that I could backfire if he tries to reclass up because he could be exposed. And somebody's still going to take him high because of his potential. I get it. But if he waits another year and comes in when he's physically and mentally ready, he's more apt to be able to be a consistent production guy, not just a potential guy.
He may have the chance, like these are kids, right? And like a year makes a hell of a difference physically. Like you can see from one year to the next how much a kid grows and changes based off physical hormones, right? And so if they get it physically, the hormones kick in. He takes this part of it seriously, which maybe he will with like, and again, this is a hypothetical. Maybe he will. You assume it by him trying to reclass. He gets to a college program, and then he locks in, and that can make a world of a difference. And I've seen many freshmen at that stage where year 1 to year 2, or from the beginning of the summer to the end of the season, have probably put on 15 plus pounds. You know what I mean? And so I think if he does reclass, it's more of a all right. Hey, I'm locking in now. I was BSing before. Him playing at the he's playing up right now, so they're going to be a little physical. It's going to be a little bit of difference, but I think he can take those leaps, and that's something I know will come in time if I'm a GM. If I'm a scout, I know the physical part will be there. Will come with age. As long as I know this is right and the skill is there and the IQ is there, then I'm going to take that because I know a year and a half from now in our development professional program that we have, he's gonna blossom. So I'll still take that chance if I'm Bob.
That's my thing with it is that he's playing with 17s and doing all this against the kids that are a year older than him already, right? When he is in high school, he's not playing JV, right? Like he's playing against the best players in the country already. And the advantage would be getting into a Division I high major blue blood, most likely kind of a strength and conditioning program a year earlier than I don't want to throw shade on whatever high school he's at. I don't know off the top of my head, but I'm guessing it's not the same as what he would get at a Kentucky or a Duke or a Louisville or a Kansas or wherever the hell he ends up as a program. Ani, if he does reclass, is he better than Tyron? If you have to pick one right now, one of those two, the best prospect in high school basketball, is it one of those two, or is it maybe someone from the class of 2028? I don't know. What do you got?
Ooh, if he classes up, he's a better prospect than Tyron. Me personally, I would choose just with the positional size to length. One thing I like about Baba is in 17U games when he struggles the first half, he figures out in the second half where to get his points. If that's on the glass, if that's running harder in transition, if that's getting a defensive rebound and kind of grab and go and get to the rim, he figures things out within the game. Now the results may not be pretty, but he just figures shit out. So I'm gonna bank on his upside. I would pick him over Tyron personally. But in 2028, like looking at someone like AJ Williams, man, he's really, really good.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you about, man. That's why I mentioned 2020.
Yeah,
exactly what I was going to
yeah,
ask you about.
yeah, like AJ Williams, like positional size, skills, shooting, self creation ability. He has a lot of stuff to him. So I'll probably pick him over them, to be honest with you. Like, I'm a big fan of AJ Williams. I got to see him for 3 days, and I'm just, I'm sold on that one.
Goodman, tell him about what happened when we went to go see AJ Williams play.
I mean, a high major coach told us we got to watch this kid, right? Go over another court. We were actually watching the kid Colton Miller at the time, and he was phenomenal. Not good. He was playing up, and he was absolutely crushing it. And he said, hey, you got to go to this other court, even if it's for 5 or 10 minutes. Just watch this kid, AJ Williams. We go over there, Georgia Stars, and they all look, by the way, the Georgia Stars look like they're an under 7. They look like they're 17 and under team. I mean, they are long. They look like the old Georgia Stars teams that I used to cover 15 years ago that were loaded, right? And this kid, you could tell he's talented. He didn't do a damn thing. And in the 5 minutes we watched, he missed the free throw. That's basically the only thing he did out there. He really didn't do much. So Rob and I probably didn't see him at his finest 5 minutes, but you could tell he's super talented.
So he kind of buried the lead there. What the high major coach told us was, go over there, watch for 5 minutes, and if you can't tell who the kid is, then you need to quit this business. And both Jeff and I were like, I don't know which kid it is, man. I guess we need to quit this business.
We figured it out. We did figure it out.
We had to ask.
Colton Miller, man. Colton Miller's a dude. He is really, really, really talented. And he, unlike AJ, who's probably got a much higher upside, you could tell. He just didn't have a good game when we were watching. Colton Miller was like killing it, absolutely killing it. Coatesville, Pennsylvania product, the home of who, Robert?
Richard Rip Hamilton, national champion with the UConn Huskies. I don't know if you guys remember that. All right, I want to hit you on this because it was a topic that I spent more time on with coaches and with people at Peach Jam than anything else, and that's how much money are you investing in some of these freshmen right now? If you are dealing with something of a soft cap that comes with revenue sharing and that comes with maybe some of the limitations that will be placed on these collectives if Deloitte is going to really dig deep on how real a lot of these commitments are, right? Shu, you go first. Ani, I want to hear from you as well. Like, what are you blowing the budget on these guys? Are you trying to get 3 or 4 top 10 recruits in this class, or are you taking a couple of commitments from guys that are maybe a little bit further down, players that you think you can get for 2, 3, 4 years, and then saving the money that you had to spend for whatever this transfer class ends up looking like? And maybe if there's anything left once they're done picking over the bones of the overseas market, some kid from Slovenia or Turkey or wherever we're recruiting players from now. Shoot.
I mean, it's tough, especially if you're talking about this sort of soft cap that is about to get handed to the college programs. But I'm not blowing the budget. This is where you really got to be smart in how you rationalize spending your resources because they're going to be limited. So if you're saying I'd probably go, depending on what my team looks like and what's coming back, which is always hard to tell at this point in time, but probably two high level kids is best you'd like to afford, and then you work your way down on rotational guys that you need if you're looking to fill in with this class. But you'd probably say, I mean, if we're going to throw numbers, I'd like to tier it. You know what I mean? So if you're saying one of these kids is a high level starter, which is probably one of the top 10 type kids, then it's going to have to be a mill 2, mill 3, which is what some of the guys just recently got in this 25 class. But if you can kind of tier that in your player system as far as what you have coming back or what you anticipate have coming back with some of these guys, and it's going to have to be, I'm going to put a number. I'm going to say 50% of what your budget is going to have to be on your top tier, which is your high-end starters, probably 3 guys.
So roughly. What? Yeah. So Ani's shaking his head no. Go ahead, and then I want to weigh in of like percentage of your budget that you would spend on any of these top 25 players. One guy, to me, I wouldn't be giving more than 15% of my overall budget on any one of these guys, really. Jordan Smith.
I'm speaking more on. Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Go ahead, Jeff.
I was just going to say Stokes and Jordan Smith, probably the exceptions. But anybody else, I don't care if it's, obviously Christian Collins, as Rob said, he was kind of invisible for a good portion of the games that we saw him. But, even a Caleb Holt, I don't think I'm giving him, and he defends at a high level. I like Caleb Holt, but I wouldn't give him more than, if my budget is, my rev share is $3 million. I'm not giving him more than 15%. I'm not giving more than $500,000 for any of these dudes beyond the top 2 that I named.
If you're saying it's 3 million, then obviously that number is coming down. So for me, when I was talking 50%, I'm including guys who are returning. But if we're talking about just strictly these kids in this class, then it's probably between 500 to $1 million. I think you probably top out at $1 million, just depending on who it is and how bad you really need him on your roster and how he fits and how he can affect your team. But I think top out at $1 million. And then you're going fishing in the transfer portal, and you're going to get a proven product that's going to demand an X amount of dollar, which is probably going to be $1 million something as well. And then you budget down. So when you get to the rest of it, if you're still looking for a 26 after you get a big fish, then you're going to have to do your put on your recruiting hat, your eval hat, and probably go somewhere in the mid-tier to find somebody less than $500K to start to fill out the rest.
Ani?
Yeah, I mean, with this class, what messed me up? I'm gonna tell y'all. I went to U of H practice, and they have the freshmen, Sinak, Kingston, Hartwell, and Sampson ended the practice saying, "This is why you don't win with freshmen." All right, the family on 3, 1, 2, 3, family, and in my mind, I'm like, "Yo, these are some really good ass players, right?" So for him to say that, and now we're looking at this class, I can't give them. I'm like, Jeff, here's 500K, take it or leave it. I'm taking some role guys, and then then I'll look at see, okay, if this guy enters the portal after a year or two, then I'll come back and get him later. But I'm getting some role guys in this class. I'm not like none of these guys outside the two you're just looking at are like, hey, they're going to get me to the Sweet 16. At the end of the day, these coaches trying to win, or this guy is going to be one of our guys to get us to the Elite Eight. So I'm not going to give them $1 million. Like I'm giving you 500. I'm gonna find someone to take the 500, roll with it, get better, and then if he gets better, then I retain and I can up the money because they're older and they're in my system. But no, I can't. I got to roll with Jeff on this one. Like I
you know what I'm definitely not doing. You know what I'm definitely not giving any high school big men in this class any real money because there aren't any.
Yeah.
There aren't any. We talked about that off the top here, how disappointing this class is. And I will say this, I actually like the point guards at the top. I like the crop. I don't think it's like unbelievable, but I think there's 5 point guards or so, 5, 6 point guards. They're all different, and they can be really good college players, okay? Now, what I can't find are any big men worth a damn. Like, I can't find any. It was unbelievable. I have not seen it like this in a long time, like maybe ever. I don't think ever. Who's the best? Like Cam Williams to me was my favorite big. He's not really a big. He's a 4, athletic. He plays hard. He runs the court. He blocks shots. He rebounds. He can step out a little bit. I love his upside, but he's not a big per se.
I think Erifan Diani is like he's actually good. Like I think his ability to read the game, his ability to pass, his size. Now, I don't think he can guard a lick. Like I think if you bring him in right now, all you're going to do is put him in the ball screens, and he's going to get embarrassed pretty quickly. But that will come with coaching. That will come with development. It's not uncommon for big guys to arrive on campus and have no clue what to do defensively in different ball screen scenarios. Because like in high school and AAU, what do big guys do? Go stand in front of the rim and don't let nobody get any layups, right? That's all they do. So I think there's no different with Diani. But I saw you nodding with me, man. I think Diani.
No, I agree. Erfan put himself on the map. I think me and Ani talked about it a little while ago, 2 years ago or last summer in Turkey, where he played with his national team, and I think that's where he really put himself on the map and had a lot of college coaches knocking on his door. He's at Iowa United now. Big man. He calls himself like the African Joker. That's kind of his little spill as far as just being able to be on the perimeter, be able to kind of distribute and be a hub per se, but really good back to the basket, showing some flashes of being able to stretch the floor, high IQ, passer, feel. He's an old school big man because like he likes to punish opponents. So
and
like
he'll tell you about it too. He likes to talk. He likes to chirp.
Yeah. So that's the part of him that I like the most because he gives you that old school feel as far as a back to the basket big who is going to use his size to his leverage and doesn't care about being around the paint and scoring there either hand. But he's also got some skill to be able to be on the perimeter a little bit, maybe knock down a shot, maybe make some good passes, get some good reads. You see a lot of positive things with his game. And again, like Rob was saying, defensively, that would take some time to work on. He's got to work on his body a little bit more, shed some weight. But if he gets, again, like we always talk about with these guys, the right program, which gets him to play on that side of the ball, the defense side of the ball, and then shapes up his body to maximize his athleticism and his movement and his lateral quickness, I think he's got a chance to be really, really good. And he's the best big in this class. I'll throw a little money at him because he's different than the rest.
You know who's the best big I saw? Obina Akizi. Obina Akizi was the best big I saw. I know he's 2027.
For sure.
He was awesome. Awesome. Like consistent, brought it, like defends, can score, tough, smart, played hard every possession. Like, man, he should reclass. He should reclass.
Yeah, I saw his dad at Peach. I saw his dad at Peach Jam. Throwback to the Terps, man. Shout out to Scott Van Pelt. All right, I've been waiting all show to ask this question, and I can't wait. Goodman, I'm giving this to you because I know this is the kind of thing that I know that you're going to have a good answer for. All right, let's just say Deloitte gets really stingy with what some of these collectives are allowed to put together and some of the deals they're allowed to do. And let's just say that you're looking at some SEC or Big Ten teams that are capped at like $3.5 million, maybe $4 million in terms of what their rev share budget is. How do you cheat? How do you get these guys the money? How do you what is the workaround here to be able to get these kids paid? Because look, we're all adults here, right? We're all grown-ups. We could have a real conversation. There ain't no way that these SEC teams are only going to spend $3.5 million or whatever it is when we know what UConn and St. John's and some of these Big East schools and some of these A-10 schools are going to end up spending. We could be honest about that. How do you cheat, Goodman? How do you make this work?
All right, you want? I got two ways of doing it. Number one, you go hire a former SEC head coach who is now out of the game. That would be number one. That'd be my number one option. Number two, find ways to wash the money, right? You find ways to wash the money if you can. Obviously, you want to try to get it done legally as best you can. But if you don't have the ability to do that, let's say you're at a school that doesn't have a Walmart or a FedEx or one of those big companies, and you get denied at every turn. And yeah, it's probably going to go to court at some point, but that'll take some time to figure out. So, some of these guys, let's face it, they're not going to be patient on it. They're going to say, like, what do we have to do now to make sure that we can get this thing done? So, in the past, you were looking at guys having to pay 25, 50, maybe $100,000, illegally under the table. Now you're talking about $500, $1 million. That's got a lot more consequences that come with getting caught than $25,000. It's a lot harder to try to, again, wash $1 million or $500,000. So, that's going to be the key here.
$1 million, you got to file a tax return at $1 million. Like $50K, the IRS doesn't care about $50K because that's like $10K of taxes that they're not getting. That's not worth it for them to go after. $1 million, that's like $500,000 in taxes that they can go after, and they will go after that. You got to file.
It might be a pile of cash. It could be a pile of, a pile of cash. Even if what's the tax return on that? You never got it.
Even if it is a pile of cash, like it's very hard to hide $1 million when you. Do you know, like, first of all, like, do you know how much, like, how the size of the bag that you need to hold $1 million in cash? I mean,
big bag.
We're not talking about a backpack. Like, we're talking about like multiple duffel bags. I've seen Ocean's 11. All right, I've seen how much money they wheeled out of the casino there. Like, you can't just carry that. You can't just bring $1 million in cash on an airplane. It's not easy to move that kind of stuff around. So that's my question: is how are they going to be able to do this? Somebody creative is going to come up with it and find a way to be able to get this done. I asked you guys for sleepers before we started recording this. I have two written down that I think are my favorite sleepers in the class. One guy that's like a borderline 5-star. One guy that's not in any top 100s that I saw. Ani, you go first, then Shu, then Goodman, then I'll go with mine. I want to see if any of you mention the two sleepers that I have. Go ahead, Ani.
Sleeper in the 2026?
Yes.
Bryson Howard.
Yeah, he was awesome.
That was mine.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Talk me through why.
Well, one thing, he graduates at 17. He doesn't turn 17 till August. He's a lefty, really makes shots, has basketball bloodlines. He defends his ass off. He has long arms. His self-creation skills have really improved. It's kind of weird. In April, before the point guard left, Cam Lomax, to go to Drive Nation, he was just kind of like, second, third option on that team. And then when Lomax left, he decided, like, okay, I'm going to be the guy. So he was just very aggressive with the ball. He was scoring inside. He was scoring outside. He was defending multiple spots. He's young. He's athletic. I don't think he's done growing. He really, really impressed me with, like, just his overall versatility. So, like, to me, Bryson Howard, he's just a dog. He competes every game, and he's productive. I think there's so much left in the tank for him. So he's my sleeper. And I think he's someone that could honestly, if you say he's top 10 in the country, you have a legitimate argument.
There are staffs that think he is the best player in this class and the number one player in the class. He just moves different, Shu. Like you watch him run, and he doesn't like run. He glides. He's got his calves, or he's the one dude in this class that has never skipped leg day. Josh Howard's son, right? Shu, who's your sleeper in the class?
I would go Austin Gooseby. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper. Carlos Medlock Jr. Got a chance to watch him off and on. He's on the Adidas circuit, Phenom U. Probably about a 6'1" guard. Super long arms, extremely active. Point of attack, point guard. He has grown so much in his skill set and a little bit in his size and his body to kind of make up for his size as far as filling out the build. But he's got recent offers, which are legit with Michigan State. He lives out of Michigan. I think he's transferring or is going to play at Link this upcoming year, but he's probably, I think, right outside the top 100, but really making some noise, extremely productive, and just really brings the fight to the game, creates for his teammates, scores it, can do a little bit of everything, and is a ball hawk on the ball as far as being able to guard it and create some havoc on that end. So I'll go deep sleeper, and I'm going to go Carlos Medlock Jr. And his dad played overseas, so he's got that in his bloodline. But, yeah, Carlos Medlock Jr.
Goodman?
So I'm going to go Adidas circuit too. I'm going to go with a kid from Game Elite, and it's not Caleb Holt. It's Colvin Landrew. Big guard. He was their best player there. When we were in Rock Hill, he was the best player on that team. Again, Caleb Holt guarded at a high level, but I thought he got swallowed up a lot when he went to the basket. Landrew made every shot. High IQ guy, former football kid. I think he's from Alabama, so Alabama Auburn on him. He was terrific. And then I got to give a shout out to a 2027 guy that I've given plenty of shout outs to on Twitter. My guy Chase Richardson, who I saw didn't play great in front of Mark Pope at the end of the session last week, but man, when I saw him, he's so much fun to watch as a point guard who's just electric, plays with a flair, point guard who can shoot it, gets to the basket. He's got a gear in him that it surprises you a little bit. But the Friendswood High product is going to be really good. Next year, I can't wait to see it.
I'm going even further off the radar than you two guys. He also plays on the Adidas circuit. He played for a team called like ETG or something like that. I think his name is Jacob Weber. He's a 6'6" shooter, floppy hair. The line of the summer for me was shout out to David Bentley. He said that Jacob Weber plays like what T.O. played like with hair. And he's a shooter. He's a scorer. I saw him go for 23 and a half. I saw him put up 36 in a different game. I think he's one of these guys. He's a 4-year player. I don't know if he ends up playing in the NBA. I don't think he's quite that level. But I do think he's the kind of guy that if he ends up at a Creighton, he'll lead the Big East in scoring at some point. If he ends up at Iowa, he'll lead the Big Ten in scoring at some point. He is that level of a shooter and that level of a scorer. And he is currently, I'm looking at his profile right now, ranked 136th in 24/7's top 150. And if you can get the 136th player in the class and he has a chance to be the leading scorer in your conference, I think that qualifies as a sleeper. All right, listen, guys, this has been fun. I want to end it with this, okay? Goodman, you said the other day that you think Peach Jam needs to move out of Augusta. And for that, I would like Dagan to give you a 5-minute muting ban here on this podcast. You're not allowed to say anything else the rest of the show because that is ridiculous. What makes Peach Jam special?
I got to defend myself.
What makes Peach Jam special is that venue. It is how the city of Augusta has embraced this event. It is how many people show up in these little tiny packed gyms. It is everything about that environment. It is going there and in between on Thursday, the early 17U games and the late 17U games going to hitting up Nacho Mamas. It's about going to Reinhardt's Oyster Bar on Friday night. We got our spots, man. We got our traditions. You got to go get the pork chop from Frog Hollow. Why would you ever want it to move? That is blasphemy. That is something that you cannot take back. And I personally agree.
Reinhardt's or Hakkasan? I don't know if you've been to Hakkasan, Rob. You have not, probably. But
Reinhardt's.
Reinhardt's
Every
or
day of the week.
Hakkasan. And if not, you can
Reinhardt.
Google Hakkasan after we're done with this pod. And trust me,
Reinhardt.
you would
Every
rather
day
go to
of the week.
Hakkasan than Reinhardt's.
I would rather go to Reinhardt's. Do you know how their fried pickles are another level, man? I'm telling you.
I love the pizza. I love it. My intent was more the fact that, again, I think it's outgrown that facility as much as anything else. Like, you can't even – and it wasn't even crowded because, again, like, remember when Bronny was there. Remember Cooper's there. You can't even get in the gym. You can't stand.
But that's what's awesome about it. That's the best part. Like,
you never did Vegas. But you never did Vegas to understand how great Vegas was when everybody was in Vegas and you had games all over the city. You had 30, 40 games at the same time. And the best players a lot of them were playing each other. I want an end of the year. I want an end of the year event where Adidas, and it's probably never going to happen, but where Adidas, Nike, Under Armour, Puma, yes, all of them are together and they play for something. Every kid is in Vegas. Summer League's there. The NBA GMs can go by and see a high school kid, and then the kids can go to the Summer League and see, those players that they want to be in a few years. One-stop shopping. Plus, Augusta, last I checked, does not have blackjack, Rob. Does not have blackjack.
Because you are a degenerate gambler, you're going to blow up one of the great sporting events, great underground sporting events that we have, just so you can go and spend thousands of dollars at a blackjack table. That's where we're at, guys. That's what we're dealing with right here. I do think you're right about having an end of the year event in Vegas, but don't blow up Peach Jam for it, man. We'll not let that happen. That's blasphemy. I'm not going to allow him to say that. Listen, appreciate you guys being on here. Shu, Ani, if you guys are not listening to and following the Next Gen podcast on the Field of 68, we'll throw a link in the description below. You got to make sure you go check that out. We got the two guys that know the recruits and the class and these prospects better than anybody else, and I'll put them up against anybody doing recruiting content on any platform that you have. So appreciate you guys jumping on after dark. Appreciate you guys tolerating Goodman, and appreciate you guys hanging out with us. So for Shu, for Ani, for Jeff Goodman, my name is Rob Dosser. We'll see you guys again on the next episode.